of improvements to the Rushford wastewater treatment system as submitted by BDM Consulting Engineers. See attached letter.
You know when they're going to get started on that?
Bids will be like in February.
Any comment?
Was John Stewart in town today?
No, not that I know.
Okay.
All right, let's move on to 5F. Letter received from FEMA Region 5 denying the improved project request for project worksheet number 1031 Community Center Project. This letter is a reply to the city's request for formal documentation of this determination. Application for alternate project is available, capped at $534,043.80. Documentation to use these repair funds for an alternate project needs to be submitted prior to commencing of any work. And I will read this into the record. Kathy Zachary, City of Rushford, P.O. Box 6430, Rushford, Minnesota 55971. Dear Mr. Bankston, I am forwarding the FEMA Region 5 letter responding to your approved project request for project worksheet 1031. Unfortunately, your request has been denied. FEMA has reviewed your request and has determined that the improved project is denied due to the community center being completed prior to FEMA approval. You have three options for this project. One, you currently have an approved PW 1031 to return the site back to pre-disaster condition. This PW is approved for $593,382. Two, if you want to use the repair funds for an alternate project, the FEMA eligible share of this project will be capped at $534,043.80. You would have to fund the remaining portion of the project. If you did this, you would have to submit an alternate project request form. Alternate projects need FEMA approval prior to commencing any work. Three, you could appeal the denial determination. I am attaching information on how to appeal. If you'd like to go in that direction, all appeals need to be sent to our office. Sincerely, Doug Stahl, Public Assistant Engineer. Any comments?
Well, this letter is the official word because we were given notification, I think it was last fall, that there was the possibility that they were going to deny this, but we didn't have anything in writing from them. So I just kept bugging them to ask them to give us an official word one way or another, so we finally got the letter from them.
What might be an alternate project?
Who cares about the alternate project right now? What can we do to get this money?
Not a thing.
Are you sure?
Well, if you read the FEMA letter on the back, it's got a little more detail. It says, in addition, Section 1500, Law of National Environmental Policy Act states procedures must ensure that environmental information is available to public officials and citizens before decisions are made and before actions are taken. Since the new community center building was completed prior to FEMA's ability to complete the required Section 106 review and the environmental review process, no federal funds can be expended on the undertaking. That's pretty clear.
Very clear. So why didn't this get done? We managed to get the liquor store built without any problems. What was the problem with the community center?
I don't know, other than I think they had verbal approval. The last I heard, there was a verbal approval to do it, and
Well, the previous council had been trying to get that thing built up there for quite a while.
the community center.
Yes.
made the decision to go ahead and do it, bypassing the requirements. And there is nothing we can do about it. It's done. We just soaked up 400. How much do we have in that building?
I think it's about 400 something.
400,000 of our reserves.
Straight out of reserves then?
Yep.
Let's see.
Well, we also had insurance money from the Dream and Horses building, which was put into capital projects fund.
When was that?
Pardon?
When was that?
When was that?
Yeah, was that?
Right after the
was-
flood. It was in the flood money from our insurance.
Well, that money was bandied about and talked about, what should we do, should we apply to this? There was one meeting where they talked about using it to help Rentec get a match for the, what was it, the 500,000, 600,000 a year?
600.
Yeah,
The
but it
600, there
wasn't-
was talk about using that, and it wasn't used.
No, that money went back to the state. I mean, we didn't try to go for that one. That 600,000 was given up. The alternate project, would have to meet their approval, their specifications, and it would have to meet some sort of community type project that, like the community center was able to be used by all citizens in the community. One project that it could go for would be to the new library building, since that's not been started yet, and we have already done the environmental on that building down there.
So we did the environmental down there, but we didn't do any up here.
That was done when we did the demolitions of all the buildings down there. And because we have brownfield grant money to do that kind of thing, to buy the buildings and do the demolitions, and because USDA funds could potentially be involved in the library building, we knew we had to do that environmental down there.
Okay, so we have experience with this before, but we still messed this up on the Himley property. Correct?
Down there were buildings and construction to deal with. Up there it was a cornfield or whatever it was. We've had other issues too where we were supposed to do environmentals, like on the bike trail, to do, the bike trail thing up by the Highland Mill, and when we did the environmental thing, they only went down so many inches, and they were supposed to go so many feet. And so there's all kinds of different issues that can come up, but
Well, if we are stuck with an alternative use for this money, I say we use it to help pay for our levies. That will benefit all.
Well, we need to find out what the requirements are.
Well, it is FEMA money, it'd be nice if we could use it to pay for a FEMA mandate. Just
Well,
makes sense to me.
But it has to be done by some date in 2013, all these FEMA projects.
yeah, unless you've got something in the works. But the levy recertification has to be done by a certain date anyway, regardless.
So we need to find out what projects will qualify as alternative projects.
And they've sent paperwork, forms that we can apply for different things, and I'm just surprised we actually got a written letter from them. I thought that was,
We needed that. We had to know where we
yeah,
stood
we
on
had
it.
to know for sure.